Yeah, I don't think Paul likes my response.
I thought it was my bad.
Christine, I do have you streaming right now to your page.
Oh, great.
So you're all set, you're up and running. I have open house for my kid. I'm going to be going 15 minutes. I'll be right back.
Sure. So I just let you know.
It's not yet.
No,
That's nice.
I was just in a rush trying to get it tied.
Don't
worry about it, I got you. Thank you.
I figured I'll be sitting here, nobody's going to see it anyway. So
That's right.
Hey, I'd rather have a short tie than a kid button. Every shirt I own, I can't button in that. And I went from
you were trying to club. That's me.
I went from a 16 and a half, 17 neck to an 18 neck.
18. Like the heat, did they put the heat?
I said I went from like a 17 neck, 16 and a half to an 18. In how many years? Cool. This shirt used to have a button and wear a tie with. I can't. No, it's
What's up?
Yeah. Never just said? Yeah. Do we have a sewer again?
I don't know if you actually have.
I think it's up to you.
Still matter?
Yeah, we're so this.
But you have one I can make up.
Yeah. You don't mind?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a break in between these. 5-minute break. Yeah. The work at the refuge is implemented. The work at the refuge
I saw him today, and he said, put something in one of the boxes, and they didn't read it.
You should. You should.
All right, you ready? I just sat down, so we're not going back.
Oh, yeah.
Was it fun?
Yeah.
Meeting called to order today is Tuesday, September 21st. Town Council meeting is the Sewer Commission. It is now 7:03 p.m. Mark, will you lead us in prayer?
Father, we thank you for another opportunity to meet as a town to try and further this town in a positive direction. We pray, Lord, that this meeting accomplishes all that we need to do, and that we do it in a way that is respectful to each other and according to the laws of the land. We love you, we praise you, we thank you for Jesus. In his name we pray, amen.
Jay, listen to the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Council President Goslin.
Here.
Council Vice President Williamson.
Here.
Councilman Messier.
Here.
Councilman Licciardi.
Here.
Councilman Bourget.
Here.
Participating communities: Town of Coventry, Town of Situate, City of Cranston, City of Warwick, Town of West Greenwich. We have a quorum on record. Minutes of the previous meeting. Resolved that the minutes of the August 17th, 2020 Town Council meeting acting as Sewer Commission is hereby accepted.
Move the minutes.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Reports, Plant Managers Report.
Good evening, everybody.
They're on the agenda.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right. Good evening again, everybody. All right, Plant Manager Report, August 2021. Our average daily flow was 4.5 million gallons per day. Max flow was 8.5 million gallons per day. And the minimum flow was 2.2 million gallons per day. Our CBOD removal, our facility achieved a 98.4%, which is also 2.6 milligrams per liter. Our total suspended solids, we achieved a 98.2%, which is also 2.6 milligrams per liter. Nitrogen limit, we were at 5.9 milligrams per liter, and phosphorus 0.08 milligrams per liter, all within DEM limits. For sludge removal, we had 383 tons to Synagro, 128 tons to the landfill, for a total of 511 tons. As far as the collection system, there were no backups in the public line. On the private line, we had 3, Richard Street, Wakefield Street, and Phoenix Avenue. For odor complaints, there was 4 in total, 3 at a residence on Providence Street and 1 on Fernwood Drive. There were no violations. And some quick updates for staffing. Right now, we still have the superintendent position available. We had interviews within the past 10 days, so hopefully we'll get that position filled shortly. And we also have a mechanic that's leaving the facility, so it's actually, I believe, posted now. If anyone, friends, family, there's a mechanic spot available, so please apply. Another update is Acorn Lane. I'm sure as many of you know, there was an issue there 2 Fridays ago. As far as the sewer was concerned, we had a line break of about 60 feet. There was a construction company present doing other work, so we had them in the emergency take care of the sewer line, and we had it repaired within that same day, and no impact was made on any households that I was aware of. Other than that, that's my plant manager's report.
Any questions for Jeff?
I do. With the odor complaints,
Yes.
is it the same house on Providence Street that has the 3 complaints, or is it a different house? Because there's always it seems like there's always odor complaints from Providence Street because it's right there.
Correct.
Is it same residence or different, or?
It is the same residence almost every month.
So what is their complaint though?
They call at all hours of the day. It can be 8 a.m., it can be 2 a.m. So they just
Call for
us.
what though?
let us know for various reasons. We've been claimed that we've had issues down there with loud noises and banging, which unfortunately is a wastewater plant. We have to clean buildings. We have big metal grates. Sometimes there's going to be noise down there, unfortunately, so things like that. Sometimes they do complain about the odor, saying it stinks down there, but...
Stinks like what, though?
We don't have a definite reason, to be honest, just saying that it smells down there, it smells bad.
Smell? All right.
So I don't have an actual...
Is it perfume? Is it gas? Is it sewer? I mean,
No, they...
at this point, if it's the same people complaining, I don't know if I'm not saying the complaint is legitimate or not, but I would say, what is the complaint? What is the smell? Is it coming from the plant? It might not be coming from the plant. So, but if they're chronically complaining all the time, I mean, there's got to be a reason.
Correct. I don't have the answer to that, to be honest. I don't know why they keep calling the facility. Sometimes it may be legitimate, sometimes it might not. So we have to try and distinguish that and go forward from there.
So who gets the call?
Normally, on the off shift, it would be an operator that's at the facility.
So are they calling on the off shift? They call
Correct.
during the day? They call it in the middle of the night?
All hours of the day. All first, second, third shift, we've had calls come in from the same residents.
So what's the reply, though?
Normally, we have sprayers that kind of, perfume mask the odor, so we'll make sure that those are turned on for the resident, but that's the limit of our ability. Sometimes we do have equipment down. Unfortunately, we're a sewer plant and things break.
Right, but what's the answer, though? Like, if I'm calling like 10 times to complain throughout, I don't know, a 2-week period, all various times, I should be able to, I mean, obviously at some point, I would go to the town manager if I'm not have a satisfactory answer. And I would say, I spoke with so-and-so down there at this time, and I complained about this, and they said this. So on our end, are we justifying the odor, or are we justifying the complaint? Are we speaking up in defense of the complaint?
Normally, because the resident keeps calling on a regular basis, I do talk to the resident often. Sometimes they apologize for calling all hours of the night. Sometimes we have equipment down and it does smell, so we try our best to mitigate the smell in a timely manner. So, it's a little give and take here. Sometimes there's an issue, sometimes it's not an issue.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You okay?
No questions, sir.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Excuse me, the industrial pretreatment program report.
Is this on? No. Is that on? Okay. First, I want to commend the treatment plant and their staff on that break on Greenbush Avenue and Acorn. My staff was out there with the Kent County Water Project, and they really did a yeoman's job. They were there all day, over 12 hours, working on cleaning out the sewer line while the contractor was installing it. So they really did a great job. Sometimes we get the slam for not doing our job. They did a great job out there. And my staff was out there with Kent County, so they saw this, and they commented to me on how well they were working. So I just wanted to bring it up to the attention of the commission.
Thank you, Jim.
Regarding the industrial pretreatment for the month of August, we received all the significant industrial users. We received their self-monitoring report, and all of their reports were in compliance. With regard to the private wastewater treatment facilities, we were dealing with two of them, Marketplace Center and Showcase. The Marketplace Center completed the cleaning of their line, and during the cleaning, they found the collapsed section of the line. So we're working with the property manager to get that collapsed line fixed and repaired and bring them back into a full compliance. With regards to Showcase Cinema, they continued the cleaning. If you remember last fall, they started the cleaning operation, and because of weather conditions stopped it. This time they began the cleaning, continued the cleaning. There was some wet conditions, but they managed through that. They still have to inspect the force main, which goes across the highway and into the Quaker Lane pumping station, and we're working with them on a schedule to do that. With regards to food services, the Quisa Pizza was issued a new permit because of a change of ownership. New connections were made and approved and completed at J.C. Morgan Chase in Warwick and Ty Oak Elementary School in Coventry. Plans were reviewed for Dunkin' Donuts on West Warwick Avenue. The plans generally met the compliance of the program, and a permit was issued. Plans were reviewed and submitted by 1180 Tyoke Avenue in Coventry. This developer is proposing a building, but he has no tenant in mind. So what we're doing is we're approving it in general concept, and that once a tenant is selected, if it requires pre-treatment or commercial, he would come to us and we would make the appropriate modifications to the building if necessary. With regards, we also worked on, Oppa and Van Lines is subdividing their property, and we're working with them on creating 2 service laterals for the building. So we're working with the planning department on that. House of Liquor, that's 549 Quaker Lane. When we were out there inspecting it, we found a break in the line. The property owner went to go check it, had a contractor out there. What they found was that 555 Quaker Lane tied into their lateral and was causing the problem. So we're working with both property owners to resolve it. That's why normally we like one property, one lateral, so that the property owner is responsible for his connection. And finally, Centerville Mill, 3 Brontle Avenue. We reviewed 2 plans, one Rhode Island vinyl, and the other is detailed granite surfacing. Rhode Island vinyl was approved. We're still waiting for a completed application for a detailed granite, and that's all I have.
Any questions for Jim? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Director of Administration report. Year-to-date operating and debt expenses for fiscal year 22 as of August 31st total $2,183,147, which is 23% of the annual budget. Fiscal year 22 sewer usage collections through August 31st total $2,370,824, which is 36% of the total billed. Of the total collected, 9,541 represents interest. Fiscal year 22 sewer assessment collections through August 31st totaled $133,133, which is 57% of the total bill. Of that, $295 represents interest. Cash and investments through August 31st totaled $3,238,564.
Any questions for Christine?
Yes. And I'm going to ask some questions for the benefit of the three of you on the sewer commission that don't hear what Councilwoman Williamson and I hear at the sewer subcommittee meetings. And I think you should be informed. So where do we stand? And I've asked these questions already, so it's really no surprise. Where do we stand as of last fiscal period?
As of right now, we are over budget.
By how much?
I believe it was, I didn't take it with me, but 187,000.
Okay. And we're full staffed.
We are fully, well, minus one, but we are fully staffed. Of that, we did have a transfer that was transferred from capital budget for the generator and some other work that was approved by resolution. So that doesn't include that in there.
Okay. That's all I have.
That it? Any other questions for Christine?
No, but Christine, on the cash and investment, just a typo, it should say August 31st instead of August 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have new business, the sewer administrative fees.
I put this on the agenda. I've asked about this for 2 budgets and now 3 months. So I'm not going to belabor the point. I think a lot of people have heard it already. I'm just looking for a date. When are the sewer department, I want to say, I could be wrong with the number, but I think $348,000 was required last year for admin fees to the town. And what I've been asking for basically is, I treat that like a bill. So the town gives a bill to the sewer department saying, here's your bill, this is what you owe us. But it doesn't give any description. So, and I don't think that's right, because I don't think the number is right. And I could be off in both the positive and negative. But I'm comparing this to Jim Jeremiah, like I did in the sewer subcommittee meeting. Jim's going to give us a bill, and is that okay for us to pay if that bill says Jeremiah and Associates? I'm just going to throw out whatever numbers. 10 hours at $10 an hour is $100. Are we going to pay that bill? I would say no, but I don't know. I'm not paying the bills. Are we going to pay that bill? Or are we going to question what work was done?
So I'll field the question.
Thank you.
It's my intent, as we prepare or start to prepare for fiscal 23, to come up with a logical, transparent fee structure based on your request. And that may be a percentage of certain position salaries that do some work there. It may be a cost of services rendered and treating it as if it was outsourced. What if they were an independent business, what would their payroll services cost versus to us doing it in-house? And then finally, it could be payment in lieu of taxes. If that was an independent business, what are their property taxes there? What are their tangible taxes? And come up with something that would be the cost that the town may expect payment on. I can't, at this level, at this point, predict what that would be, if it's going to be higher or lower than what has been traditional, but it's my intent to make it make sense.
Thank you. And that's all I've been asking for 2+ years.
Can I say something?
Sure.
So I just wanted to make sure you understand that in the beginning of the summer, I sent out emails to all the departments asking them in detail what they do. I've gathered all that information. I've already started going over it. Preliminary, I can see that the tax collector probably should be getting charged a higher percentage. And Mark and I were going to go over what we do to see if we should lower our percentage. But I've absolutely been working on it. But I hadn't had a chance to email you to let you know.
Okay. That's all I've been asking for.
And we do have a spreadsheet that we've looked at, and it does have percentages. It might have 30% of the town manager, and it might have 25 or 30% of the finance director. So backup, just so we're clear what you're looking for. You're looking for backup as to what they do. Do they spend 4 hours? The town manager probably has spent a whole heck of a lot more time than 30% recently of his time on sewer. But so specifics is what I think you're looking
That's
for.
why I've been saying the same thing the same way for 2 years. So
that's what Kristen has said she's done, to make sure that you have specifics. So it sounds like we're moving in the right direction. So hopefully we'll be able to come up with that.
Essential. Any questions for Jay on that? Thank you.
Next is fusion odor control.
I put that on the agenda too, because that was brought up. Now, going back to the previous superintendent brought up at a subcommittee meeting the request to use fusion odor, which is to use an odor control at the plant. Came up the subcommittee meeting, we questioned how you're going to pay for it. There was, at that meeting, there was no rhyme or reason. We just, it'll work, we want it. Cost was going to be $45,000 to $50,000 a year. And please correct me if I'm wrong. So we instructed previous superintendent to put this together and bring it to the next meeting. Nothing was ever finalized. I personally never realized that there was going to be a payment made to this company. So the company has been down there since September of last year, and we've been paying them. It never came before the sewer commission. So I just realized last month that they were there supposedly for free to test this out. So all of a sudden, September, October through now, they've been getting, it's on another screen, but paying them $1,900, $3,300, $2,300, whatever it is. We've been paying them every month. So my whole thing is, all right, we're over budget, but we're paying this company, and we don't even know personally, if it's cost effective or not. That analysis has never been done. So I mentioned it at the subcommittee meeting. We spoke about it. I don't want to do business with somebody like that because they were on the subcommittee meeting with us. They're salesmen trying to sell the product, which is fine. And I'm not saying the product is good or bad. But I just think from a town's point of view, the way it was done was absolutely wrong. And that's no fault of the assistant right now, because he kind of walked into all of this. So, and now the fact that we're over budget, we've never had a company come in like this before. We have odor complaints. Granted, if this is by the same person, it's still an odor complaint. I don't think we've had this many odor complaints in a year since I've been on the sewer subcommittee. But I think we just end it and save the money.
Are we in contract with them? And if so, who signed it?
And I think actually the further discussion at the sewer subcommittee is, I think we were both surprised that Fusion was in there. I did not know that either. But I think that the request was made of the staff, by the staff, that we leave it in place for right this minute while they research where the money would come from if they feel it's a worthwhile endeavor. And I thought that was the agreement we had when we left the sewer subcommittee. Now, I may be completely mistaken.
I talked to 3 other superintendents and asked, because maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not a sewer guy. But so I asked them, this is the program. They knew the program. They said, we have enough. We have the scrubber. Again, I'm using the terminology which you guys would know that I probably know. But we have scrubbers down there. We have scrubbers that are off right now because we're using this system, and the scrubbers work fine. So why would we use something that we paid for and we've always used all along to bring in this new program and pay for it when we're going over budget? To me, that makes absolutely no sense.
Jeff?
Yeah, thank you. So, I came to this a little through it, halfway through it or whatnot. But from my understanding is that we're using one system that we stopped using. So we do have a cost savings there. Along with that, we're doing an analysis still, like Mary Beth was saying. I think in the next sewer subcommittee meeting, we're going to have more information. I was compiling some information, and we do have some cost savings. But there's other stuff involved that we need to, thank you. Other factors involved that we need to figure out to see, how much we can save by using this product.
But that should have been done prior to paying any type of a bill.
There's no question that's correct. That's correct. But I believe Jeff has been thrown into this. And I think what I heard at the sewer subcommittee, and please correct me, those of you that were there, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's not simply just not using this now because you have to offset it with other, and I'm not technically savvy when it comes to sewers either. So, but it's not simply like you can flip a switch and not worry about it and not change anything else. You have to offset removing what you're doing there. So I think that's what they were asking for the time until next sewer subcommittee. And again,
correct.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I believe you're all correct.
So are we in the process of trying to wean this off, or are we going to stay with it and then kick the can down the road and keep paying these people?
What Jeff is going to be looking at, and I'm not an expert on fusion technologies, but in general, the odor control system is designed to handle a hydrogen sulfide level, and let's call it 100 milligrams per liter of concentration. What fusion technology does is it reduces the hydrogen sulfide level, so the scrubber doesn't work as hard. So the cost savings that what Jeff has to go through is so if I'm reducing the hydrogen sulfide level from 100 down to 0, I've got to add caustic and I've got to add bleach. That has a cost. Now if I go from 10 to 0, I have to add that much less caustic and bleach. What it is now, I don't know. I don't know the cost of bleach versus the cost of fusion technology. But yes, that should have been done by the former superintendent. In this year's budget, fusion was put in, and the other system that they were using was taken out. So, but I don't know if where the cost saving is, and it's a good question. Do we just run what we have? Because we have odor control on every piece of equipment. You got the primary clarifiers, you have the headworks, you have the sludge holding tanks. So you have odor control everywhere at the plant. So now how do we handle this and get a balance to keep the cost at zero increase or savings? And then that's a determination that the subcommittee will have to make as to, look, it's not worth doing 3 types of chemicals, do this or do that, and make a decision. But you're right, it was never done. The superintendent never did it. That's how the presentation should have come about the first time around. But hindsight is 20/20, so I can't. Does that kind of explain?
I just don't like how the whole thing went down. I don't, and I don't fully blame the previous superintendent, because the salesmen were on that meeting with us.
So I agree.
And I just don't. The whole process was definitely. I feel we were duped, and I don't like that. I'm sorry.
Just come up to the mic. Sorry, come up to the microphone.
So
just say who you want to come.
Yeah. So I agree that the process that was followed is incorrect. We should have done due diligence. I think the fact that we were surprised 2 weeks ago when we found out that indeed Fusion was in there, we neither of us were aware of that. That's beside the point. The issue is, does Fusion work, and is it cost effective? And I think that's what we, again, whether leaves a good taste or not because we feel like we're duped, if it's working and it's doing the right thing, it's cost effective, we shouldn't throw it out just because we felt
But we don't know the answer.
Well, that's the work that they need to do. I agree with you, Jason.
Sir, just state your name and address for the record.
Sorry. My name is Steve Buckley. I work for Fusion. I live in South Dartmouth, Massachusetts. And with all due respect, I'm not a salesman. I'm a licensed wastewater operator. And until a few years ago, I was a licensed engineer. But I'm 70 years old and retired 3 years ago. I've run and managed treatment plants all over the world. You are not duped. Secondly, we followed the guidance of your previous superintendent. We did a 33-day trial for free and continued to supply product for 4 to 5 months free. They paid us a couple payments for equipment because we typically don't sell equipment. We sell solutions and services. So all the work that's done with Fusion is done by us. There's no input from Jeff's people. They don't touch our equipment. We show up routinely to make sure the equipment's running right and there's enough product in the drums to feed. Fusion 220 is an odor control product that was customized by Eli Hannon, right here, for the wastewater industry. It's been around for a long time in the agriculture industry. We customized it for wastewater. What it does is we apply it 2 places at your treatment plant, in the waste tank and at the headworks. And the idea of the product is to make sure hydrogen sulfide doesn't develop. And that does result in a few things. One is you got rid of $30,000 in chemical usage from somebody else. You eliminated a scrubber. And I can tell you, once you do this analysis, like we did in Yonkers, New York, you're going to save $50,000 minimum on sludgy water. I can assure you that will happen. Because when we treat up front at the headworks, we condition that whole treatment plant so that you use less chemicals, you get more solids out of your centrifuges, and you use electricity. And the big cost is you're going to have less tanker trucks going to Synagro and other places. So I stake my reputation on this, which is a good one. I've been in this business a long time, and I'm not a salesman. I actually take offense to that. I'm a licensed wastewater operator, and I run more treatment plants than anybody sitting here combined in the next 10-mile radius. I don't know what superintendent you spoke to, but we've done other work in Rhode Island on grease control and odor control very, very successfully. And we're proud of the work we do, and I'm very proud of that guy because he's the guy who developed this formula for this product. And he made it happen, and I made sure it happened in Warwick, Rhode Island. That's where our headquarters are located, in Warwick, because we wanted to control the product. So that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
And sir, thank you for coming up and explaining yourself and everything else. And I don't think it's any fault of your company whatsoever. And again, this
It's got
council.
nothing to do with that.
It should have come back before the council.
I agree.
And the superintendent previous did not do the due diligence of doing that. So I think that's what Councilman Licciardi's
And
asking.
we've never been to a committee meeting, ever. This is the first time I've ever been before any of you folks. And
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm here to hear what happens. And we're here to help you, and we're here to help figure out what benefits and features you'll get derived from the product that we use. But I can assure you, for the $3,949 a month we've been charging recently, not the first 4 or 5 months, we did that for free. You'll see the benefit, I'm sure of it. Once Jeff's done with his analysis, and I'm sure you've already saved $30,000 just in biotriad and not having one of the scrubbers broken. So you'll eventually see far more savings in your soil and watering operation.
I'd just like to add something to
Hang on.
Hold on 1 second, sir.
Wasn't my intent to insult you at all. All I'm seeing is we're sitting here with $187,000 in the red in a budget. We have a product that we have, a new product from company X to do X. I have no idea what you do. All I'm looking at the numbers because the numbers add up and everything is related. So what are we saving? I don't know. Okay, but we're paying a bill. This didn't come before the sewer commission, which is a process. Why did it come? I don't know. So I'm looking at $187,000 in the red. And all that means on our level is we continue to go in the red, what goes up? We have to raise the sewer rates. And it's not just because of your product, it may be saving, I don't know. I don't have an answer because nothing was done. So, but I'm thinking on my end, as a councilman, is if we have to raise the sewer rates, how can we do it so we don't have to? So is this saving us money or not? I don't know. We don't have to, I'm not saying it's not or it is.
Jeff can speak to that better than I can, but I know you've saved at least 30 grand already, based on what we're doing. And I can assure you, and I'll say it again, once you do the evaluation on sludgy watering, you're going to see significant savings. In Yonkers, New York, we save them over $100,000 a year, net, based on what we do for odor control.
And as soon as we see the analysis, if I'm wrong, I guarantee you, I'll be the first one to admit that I'm wrong.
The thing about odor control
But we
is-
haven't
Yeah.
gone through the
Control
process
odors,
that we need to go through
you
here.
got to control odors. If you think you're going to control every odor, it's never going to happen in this world. There's no product in the world that'll do it. The vagaries of wastewater don't allow you to control every odor. And it reminds me of when I used to work, I did some work in prisons. And the vagaries of wastewater in prisons includes body parts. That's what you get coming down the wastewater. You cannot control what's happening in wastewater. It's just too much that goes on. And the way people dump stuff down the drain today just makes it worse. So I appreciate the time. And do you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody knows how to reach me.
Thank you for actually speaking up. And
Thank you for explaining it.
Yes, we appreciate it.
My name is Elijah Hammond. I'm the owner of Fusion. I just wanted to clarify, we did do a study on the numbers, not the financials exactly. We had predicted financial savings that we could, I guess, you guys that would benefit your sewer department. But also, we did a 2-week study just based on hydrogen sulfide, and it was coming, it was in the waste tanks at 70 parts per million, which is going to cause corrosion to the tanks. It's just very detrimental to the system as a whole. And once we started applying our product, immediately we dropped the hydrogen sulfide levels to under 10 parts per million. And they maintained that, for the entire, year basically since we've been treating.
Has all that been relayed to our sewer department?
We put together a report, and it was given to Harrison initially, and I'm not sure. I had thought that on I think it was February 4th, that subcommittee meeting. I thought he had presented it to you guys, but I may be wrong. It was a long time ago now. But I know what was said in that meeting was that it was going to be that there was some staffing, savings that were happening during that fiscal year, and that this fiscal year, biotriad was going to be getting phased out, and the Fusion 220 product was going to be implemented because of the beneficials. It's not a masking agent; it actually controls H2S. It doesn't just cover it up, for the neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are getting benefits to your system as a whole. So I just wanted to make that abundantly clear. I mean, we dropped, 90% reduction essentially, in H2S. I mean, there's been months where we've been at 0 H2S for an entire month, which is like, you can ask anybody that works at wastewater. pretty unheard of.
So how long is it going to take to do a cost analysis to kind of do this the right way and put this to bed? We're either going to continue with the product or we're not, just so we can do it the right way.
I'm hoping by the next sewer subcommittee meeting. I have some information, I just don't have it all tonight, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll have that presented to you guys.
We're going to update our report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're going to update the report we developed.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the private pump station tracking /duty.
I put this on the agenda as well. And we talked about this in the subcommittee meeting too. I know, Jim, you're putting this together. This has been going on for 6 months. I just wanted a date where we can, and I know you have some information and not all of it. So, but I would just like a date where we're going to be able to finalize this as well.
I'll send you up there first thing. So I can tell you so far since the last meeting that we've had, we have identified, I think, 22 out of the 35 stations. We have billing sent out for those. We built some private pump stations already. So I just want to say that it is in the works. It's still a work in progress. So I just want to put that out there. Jim, you want to touch upon it?
No, basically what we're going to try to put together is the booklet that you're asking for. Is what I call a go-to booklet, where it says, okay, pump station, in such and such a neighborhood is a private pump station. There'll be a map on it where it's going to have a list of the contacts, as well as a map of the system, because that's the key element. So if you have a private pump station, like Showcase Center, you know who the contact is. Woolahoosian Properties over there. You have the contact, the property manager, who to contact, who's their engineer, and a map of the system so somebody can see that. We have it for the bigger systems. What becomes a more complex problem is these small systems, like the one off of Industrial Lane. It's much smaller. It's not a big complex, and it's always very difficult to get that information. You can only get what they give you, and you got to keep inquiring and inquiring. But we're going to work on it, and over the next couple of months, we should have a completed document. At least for the 22 that we have sent bills up, we'll have that for the next sewer subcommittee meeting, because we have that information, and then we'll be working on the balance of them as we go forward.
So, Jim, does this include, and forgive me for my ignorance, but like single-family homes with injector pumps
No,
and stuff like that?
that does not. Single-family homes, if you have what they call an E1 product, that's small injector pumps, you're not included in this.
All right,
We try to get and simply if it was like, I did one, or we reviewed one in another community, which was a church complex. And if they put a full pump station there, then they would fall under that category. Once they use an environmental one, they don't fall under that category under the current regulations. So those are the types of things that we'll work on. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Thank you.
Next, we have resolutions, the purchase of a new town vehicle. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Move the resolution.
Second. Moving second, discussion, Jeff? Want to give us what you're looking for here?
Sure. In the capital budget, we planned for $35,000 to spend on a new SUV for the operations department. We went to a master purchase agreement through, I think it was a Massachusetts company. We found one that had in the lot for about just over $28,000, for the exact amount it was, about $28,000. Yes. Thank you. And so we're going to move forward with that. Just a basic model that had it in stock, which is tough right now, so.
It is in the budget, right?
Yes, it is.
35 is in the budget.
As far as necessity, do you need it?
I would say yes. We're down 2 vehicles right now, so we're nice to at least get one back. When people are on the road, working on pump stations and doing landscaping or other jobs, we run short on vehicles. Sometimes I have to go out there with an individual, drive them to someplace because we don't have more vehicles. They have to use their own vehicle at that point. So I do see it as a key.
With being 187,000 in the hole, though, do we need a brand new one, or can we buy something that's used?
Let's see. I believe what they gave us too, they gave a 2021 model instead of 2022 model for about $1,500 less. So we see about doing that as well. As long as they still have it in stock, that's the big thing. So do something like that.
That would be my only concern, is if we're already $187,000 in the hole, then why are we going to spend that kind of money on a vehicle?
I will say this.
187 is last year's budget. We're talking about two different budgets.
But did we make up the 187? Okay, then it was still 187 in the hole.
So Mark, let me just point out, I don't know if you've been truck shopping lately. They're offering me more for my truck than I paid for it 5 years ago. So
I'm aware of that as well. I just know, I don't know if you remember when the town was struggling financially and the police department needed new vehicles. They actually took donations from other communities because they couldn't afford to buy new vehicles, because when you're in a hole, you just don't spend more money. You know, and that's the way I look at this, is you're in the hole, you don't spend more money. You find other ways to do it. I don't know if there's any other town vehicles that could just be moved over, to the sewer department to save this money. And if we, again, my wife and I ran our budget that way. If we're in the hole, we didn't go out and buy something that we could find another alternative for. So,
My concern is, again, because we were in the hole from last year, are we going to trend in the hole this year? So, personally, I know what you're saying, Dave, and it makes sense. But we have money now because we're only 2.5 months into the budget. So what happens come May? And then I don't think we're doing any more landscaping in the future right now anyway. Winter's coming. I mean, really, I don't know. It makes sense because we have the money, but are we going to have the money in the end? And I'm not confident in that. I have been for like 4 years, and I really didn't question the sewer budget as much as I probably should have. But now my gut says no. That's just my opinion. My gut says to wait.
I'm new here, so I don't know exactly how your budget's going. But again, for me, if you're in the hole, you don't spend money unless you actually have to. The next item I think is more of a have to than this. So
it comes down to a cash flow issue, though. If you're talking about a capital budget, it's not the operating budget. But you're talking about $187,000 operating loss. So it's cash flow.
I'm talking about more of overall the management of money.
Yeah.
And ultimately we make the vote, so we're in charge of the people that manage the money. So in a sense, it falls on us. So, and I don't feel comfortable right now with that.
I'm just a little concerned with what Jeff said about playing car capers, if people are taking their own vehicles and whatever else.
That's management, to take your own vehicle.
And again, we can go back to, I understand the $187,000 overrun is concerned, but I think that leadership is no longer in leadership, per se, right? It could have been, and I'm still going to wait for the audit to come out with why it's over budget. Was it overtime? Was it this? Was it that? Was it COVID related? Because I know just in COVID alone, the way the work schedules were working, the amount of overtime put us overrun as far as that goes. So was it a one-time COVID situation, or was it something mismanagement? I'm going to wait for that. And I had a one-on-one conversation with Christine earlier today about another situation. We just talked about it real quick.
But we also had we had also talked about projects that had to be done, emergency situations, that we were transferring money from our unrestricted funds, which would balance off the deficit. So, it's something that we can look into more intricately if you'd like to see each line item. But I'd be more comfortable once the unaudited numbers come out.
When would that be? When are we going
The auditors are coming October 4th.
So, yeah.
So we wait till.
Have they done any preliminary? No.
They did come in June, yes. Yeah, actually, they're coming in October 4th for 2 weeks. I don't know. The wastewater treatment facility also just refinanced their bonds through RIP, and they were given a $290,000 check that needs to go through
Any other questions for Jeff on this?
Just one question. Mary Beth, you were talking about operation budget, what was the other budget? Capital budget. Where's the capital budget sitting?
It's approved in this year's budget to
So this-
purchase a vehicle, and this is less than what we
It says approved for 35, and we're spending just over 28. So,
Right, when the budget was prepared this year, $35,000 was put in to purchase this vehicle. The question should be asked, do we need it now? Will it be available? What's the cost going to be? But
And do we know of any other vehicles in town that can get moved over to the sewer department?
I think there's still a shortage. I actually anticipate recommending, if it's permissible, for American Rescue Plan funds to get some, probably 3 other town vehicles that would be timely to replace.
And when that's done, is it possible to move a vehicle over to the sewer department then to save this expenditure?
It really depends on what we're replacing.
Well, and actually, some of that rescue money, actually sewer infrastructure and I think operations are
Right, sewer infrastructure is a big
Yes.
permissive portion of that. So that may, it's not designed to take and replace your budget money, but in reality, if we're looking to do some sewer infrastructure that we had planned on, whether it's a capital expense this year or next year, it could probably be allayed by some American Rescue Plan money under the sewer category.
And I would suggest that we would have to be a little careful just having a town give, they are an enterprise fund, they're a separate entity, so there would have to be some money or something moved over anyway, so
But not $28,000.
depending on,
We don't know.
I guess, what you're given,
We
yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff. I'll take a vote. We're voting on purchase of new town vehicle. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm opposed.
I'm gonna take a roll call vote. I don't know.
Well, actually, so, who made the motion to, well, I moved it. So I'm actually gonna, at this point, I'm gonna remove, yeah, so I'd like to table, I'd like to amend my motion to table this item until the next, sewer commission, so we have more information as to where we stand on the budget last year and what our needs are and what is available to us.
Second. It's on October 4th, we'll have better idea, right?
No, that would be the second meeting in October.
No, I'm saying,
Oh, yes,
No, just because the auditors come in here on October
No,
4th, I mean,
no.
we'll have the answers by October 4th.
no,
all right.
but by the
Orders
time
coming in
that,
October 4th, but by the time our next meeting, that should be.
hopefully, we can have some answers. It's not gonna be done,
No, the audit is generally done in the month of December.
right, before that, because we need to file it, but yes,
We did, yeah, the exam by December.
yes. So, but we might have a better idea at that point in time.
So Krista, when will we have a better idea? In November, maybe?
Yeah.
So I have a motion to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Next, we have the purchase of a boiler for the wastewater treatment facility. I don't know if you want to speak on that.
I need a
I'll
motion.
move the resolution.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Jeff?
Sure. So this is the only boiler that was not replaced in the 2010 flood. It's old. We really need more, guys. That's the bottom line. Just, we used a lot of oil, cost a lot of money, and it's old and deteriorating. We're putting a lot of money into it, so
and I'll ask the same question, is it in the budget?
yes, it is. It's in the capital budget.
For how?
We planned 80,000 in the budget. It's going to be, I think, 43,000 for repairing or replacing this one, and then we'll repair another one that does have damage, or isn't worth the top of it, I should say, not damage. But
Just-
where it needs to be.
You said this one's 80,000?
This one I believe was 43,000.
44,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other questions for Jeff? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Jeff.
Consent agenda, resolve that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters having been referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendations, the same is hereby approved.
Move the consent agenda.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Public comment. Any public comment on the sewer? Hearing none,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-minute recess.
The ladies on the break.
I'm going to share my contact.
That's okay.
I'm all right with that. Are you all right with that? Me either.
Bye, Jim.
We'll, I'll give you a draft of that ahead of time so you can take a look at it, comment on it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll get that.
It's cold.
Thank you.
It's so cold.
Not at all. Not at all. You know what? It's not about argument. Just say that you like to it's about the process. Oh, that's good. Just because he's in that process. And the answer should have been yes. So there's no better way to do that. Thank you very much.
Bye, Kristen.
Hi, Christine, I'll talk to you later. Okay. Right? You open the window. I Yeah, I know. Budget is not yet. But once we get the budget,
Sorry, Alan.
Okay, yes, I am exploring the